So with M. Night Shyamalan's newest film, Glass, coming out tonight, I thought I might as well go back and re-review the last two films in his trilogy that leading up to Glass, which is Unbreakable and Split. And this review will just be for Unbreakable, but I am insanely excited for Glass, and I really wanted to rewatch Unbreakable specifically because Unbreakable I have not seen in a while. Split I watched a year ago, I think, again, and really loved it. But today we're going to talk about Unbreakable for this video, and then the next video I'm going to do will be about Split. But Unbreakable, rewatching Unbreakable, this is, I think, my favorite Shyamalan movie out of all of them. And I've seen every one of his big movies. I just have not seen the first two movies before The Sixth Sense that nobody knows he even did. But all of his big movies that he did after Sixth Sense, or Sixth Sense and on, this one I think is my favorite movie because the way that he establishes everything in this movie, the way the performances are, the score, the use of being a comic book movie sit on grounded, like on a grounded level, is really incredible because the way that he establishes everything is really, really moving and incredible. And it starts out with this great scene of Elijah, played by Samuel L. Jackson, being born, and there's a great scene of David Dunn trying to hit on a woman at the same time, where like you realize both of these characters, like you get their first introductions, and both of them, like you feel more sympathy for Elijah at first, and I really enjoyed that. And David Dunn, you think, oh, he's kind of a womanizer, like he's got a wedding ring, but he takes it off. So I like that you understand who David Dunn is after that scene. Like he's just trying to be with somebody because him and his wife are having issues. And they even have to talk about that later. But I do like how they introduce both these characters in that way. And I really love how Elijah is established, this character who has this rare disease where like he is literally breakable, to where if he could barely be touched and he could break bones. Like he is that fragile. And I love the fact that whenever he's a baby, like whenever he's born in the beginning of the movie, the mother is happy, and then one of the guys who helped get the baby out says to her, like, this baby just has many breaks, like never seen this happen before, and like she cries and freaks out, and you realize that he's that much of a breakable person, and I really love that. And that I love the scene afterwards of him a little older, where like everybody in the school calls him Mr. Glass because he breaks like glass, and you actually feel a lot of sympathy for this kid, this little kid too. It's like a 10-year-old kid saying this. And then the mother's like, there's a gift outside, go get it. And he goes and opens it up, and it's a comic book. And that sets off his love for comics and something that he can do without breaking himself with just lightly opening a comic book and reading it. So I love that moment. And it's something that can't break him. And then I love how in the current time in the movie, whenever he and David Dunn start to become friends, whenever he falls down the stairs is one of those, like, you already know that he could be damaged so easily so fragilely by somebody touching him, but to see this character fall down the stairs is one of the most scariest moments in a movie. And I'm not saying scary as in, like, it's scary as in this character who you know is immediately fragile, who falls down a set of stairs, is terrifying. And in that moment, I felt the world for this character whenever he goes and falls down the stairs, whenever he's helping David trying to find that guy with the gun. I love that moment. That moment in the movie is just so heartbreaking to watch. Even when you don't know the ending of the movie with Elijah, that moment where he falls down the stairs, it is just one of the scariest moments in a movie. Like, just because you know what is going to happen, and he still lives, but the way that he breaks his bones is terrifying. And David Dunn, his character, towards the beginning of the movie, he survives a crash and has no scratches. And he doesn't understand why. So while this is happening, both of these characters are establishing what they are. That David Dunn realizes that he, played by Bruce Willis, realizes that he is a character who is unbreakable. He cannot be hurt. He survives this train accident that kills everybody except for him, and he slowly learns that he is unbreakable except for with water, which is his weakness, which is his kryptonite. Even the line they say in the movie that it's his kryptonite. And I love how you go with him on this journey to realize what he's becoming. And I really like how it also establishes that he's at a standstill with his wife as well, like they're having problems. And that scene of Robin Wright, or Robin Wright Penn, I guess, in this movie, I guess she was married to Sean Penn, but Robin Wright, that scene where she's saying she wants to start again with him, like, is a fantastically acted scene by her. That's actually an incredible moment in this movie. And Robin Wright is one of those characters in this movie that nobody else takes into account, because it's Samuel L. Jackson and Bruce Willis together. Like, that's what people think about when they immediately think of this movie. But her acting moments in this movie are incredible too. She's genuinely moving in this movie as well. So I loved her, and I really love that scene where she says, like, we could start again. Like, that acting scene is incredible. And I love, like I said, how David Dunn is slowly realizing that he is this strong, unbreakable character. There's this great scene of him lifting weights with his kid, and he tells his son to take off the weights, and he lifts it up again, and he said, how much did you take off? And the kid says, I lied, I didn't take any off. And he realizes that, and they keep putting on weights, so he realizes that he can lift at least 350 pounds, which is insane. At a superhuman mass level, he can lift that much, and I love that moment, and I love the moment too with the son who David Dunn also has a standstill with, like his wife, or like his son is not with him as much, and that moment where the son holds his gun up to David and says he's gonna shoot him and cries and is like, I know, like the son says, like, I know that if I shoot you, you're not gonna die. I know that you're gonna live. I know that, and then David just says don't do this. You are in trouble. I'm going to leave. I'm going to move to New York. Don't do this. And he almost does it. The kid almost shoots him, but then he says, yes, I can. Like, that bullet will fly right past me. And then, like, he just explains the truth to his son. But I love how the son, even though, of course, this is, I just love the fact that it sounds weird that I love the fact that the kid held the gun to his dad, and his dad is unbreakable, so, like, if he shoots him, it's not going to hurt him. But I love that moment. It was a really good moment. A great acting moment too. And I really love whenever David goes to his son's school, because his son is acting out, and because he fought back in school, and the employee there tells David Dunn about, like, she knew him, and how all these kids, even now, they will tell a story of the drowned kid, the kid who drowned and died and came back to life. And it's about David Dunn. And that moment where Bruce Willis, his performance is incredible in that moment where she's talking to him and telling him about that story about how this kid died and came back, and she's talking about him. But that moment where, like, it zooms in on his face, and he is just, without dialogue, or without his dialogue, like, he is just making a look like the realization of everything that's happening. And I love that fact that he is slowly realizing the fact that he is this superhero in a way. And his performance in that moment is incredible, where she's telling him that story and he's just sitting there taking it all in. That is just an incredible moment. Without words, that shows so much emotion. And then I love how Elijah slowly, like, tells David, like, since David has this ability where also if somebody touches him, he can see things that that person has done. So Elijah, like, recommends he goes out and goes and sees what people are doing. Like, touching them, and he could see what's happening. And then you realize with this fantastic scene where he walks into this big area with all these people, he touches shoulders with people, and like there's all these disturbing things that he sees of people doing things. Like one guy roofied a girl, and then you don't see it, but he rapes her. And then there's a character who he touches shoulders with that literally murders this guy at his house, and then he traps this family. So David Dunn goes and finds that family in this house, and where he finds the family tied up, and when he falls into the water, because they've established the fact that he can die, like that's his weakness, he will die doing this. And that moment, like whenever Elijah fell down the stairs, both of these moments are great companion moments to each other, where like when Elijah falls down the stairs, you feel the world for him falling and probably most likely going to die, even though he doesn't. And then the same thing with David Dunn, where he falls into the water, almost dies, but he doesn't. And it's just incredible how they make these two characters do a lot of the same things, but that's just incredible. Whenever he falls into the water and you are scared to death about what's going to happen to this character. And I love how he saves the day, but then we get it to where you realize that the family are going to work it out. They're going to be all right. David Dunn's family are going to work it out, and they slowly throughout the movie have earned it. And I love that moment where all three of them, David Dunn, his son, and his wife, just sit there and they just start crying. And like it's that effective, and it works because it built up to such a great, like, it felt earned whenever they finally all felt at peace with each other again. And then we get one of the coolest twists, one of the coolest M. Night Shyamalan twists, and one of the coolest twists in a movie, which is so obvious. I don't know how I did not think of this obvious twist. And it's weird because The Sixth Sense does that twist too, where it's kind of obvious after you watch it on a second watch, but it's so funny with this twist where David and Elijah shake hands, and since David touches somebody, he can see what they have done. And you realize that Elijah is the villain. He is the bad guy, and they both were built in David to become good, or become a great hero, and then Elijah had become the villain. And what Elijah has been doing is initiating all of these terrorist acts, killing people, killing dozens of people just to find David Dunn, just to find this superpowered being, because he believes that that there is one, and he did all these acts of terrorism. And whenever you get that realization, it is just terrifying and just incredible. And I don't know how I didn't expect him to be the villain. And rewatching it, I just didn't even think about it either. Like, I know that he's a bad guy, but I just didn't, like, it's just one of those twists that's perfect. It's a perfect twist for me. And he just did all these terrible terrorist acts and killings just to get David to find him. His other self, his other half, like the good as opposed to the bad of Elijah. So I love that twist. That is an incredible twist. And because David is the only person, since he's a superpowered being, who survived the train wreck, he's the only person who could survive explosions or crashes, and he killed so many people, Elijah did, to just find David Dunn, and he finally did. And then I love that scene of David just walking away from Elijah, and then Elijah, with the text on the screen, it says that he gets people in to take Elijah away, and they find at least 3 different plans of terrorist attacks just in his house, and he's sent to an institution for the rest of his days, Elijah. So that's how it ends, and that is an incredible ending. Just, it truly blows me away on rewatch, like just how incredible these characters are built up, how incredible the hero and the villain both establish each other, and you feel bad for both of them. But when you realize the twist that Elijah is the full villain, it is terrifying, and also just all the horrible things he did is incredible. And David Dunn being on the opposite end where he becomes a hero, but he has to work for it. Like he was at a standstill with his wife and kid. He eventually gains them back. He gains back a family, and then this truth is set on him that Elijah's the villain, and he sent him to do this. And I just love that incredible twist, and I love the ending. It's just it blows me away, and it's one of the best Shyamalan twists out of all of his movies. Even though I love the twist to Split and The Sixth Sense, but this one is one of the best twists in a movie. I love this twist, and it's so obvious. Like, it's obvious that he should be the villain, but I just never thought of it. I feel dumb for not thinking of it, but it's just an incredible ending. And the score is incredible too. I want to re-listen to the score, like, because I will forget how incredible the score is. I just won't remember that it was that great. But it is an incredible, moving score. And in the trailer for Glass coming out, they've even got that score, like a rendition of that. And I love how they're going to keep that connection to the next movie. So, man, just rewatching Unbreakable, this is a fantastic movie, and it is truly a moving movie, truly an incredibly acted movie, an incredibly shot movie, with an incredible score, incredible performances. Like, this is one of Bruce Willis's best performances and one of Samuel Jackson's best performances. Man, just rewatching this, I loved Unbreakable. So I'm so excited for Glass now, and I just rewatched Split. So my next review will be on Split, which is really fucking good as well. So next up is Split. So tell me down below what you think of Unbreakable, and thank you guys so much for watching.